Welcome to the Go Dyslexia podcast, where dyslexia experts share strategies, technology, products, stories, and more. And now, your host, author, and personal trainer for the brain, Dr. Erica Warren.
This episode of the Go Dyslexia podcast is brought to you by GoodSensoryLearning.com.
I am so excited to have Winston Chen here for the second time. I have featured him once to tell us a little bit about VoiceStream Reader, and I've also done other podcasts to help people understand how to use it because I am such a huge fan of VoiceStream Reader. And this week, we're going to actually be focusing on VoiceStream Writer, which is a wonderful new, actually, it's not so new. How long have we had VoiceStream Writer?
It's about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I love VoiceStream Writer. I've actually just started to use it with my students and have found it to be enormously beneficial. So welcome, Winston. Nice to see you again.
Good to be here again.
So tell us a little bit about VoiceStream Writer and why you think this is a really great tool for individuals with dyslexia.
Yeah, so the genesis of the idea of making a word processor, a writing tool, came from, as with a lot of ideas, came from users. I started to notice a bunch of emails from users who say, I'm using VoiceStream Reader to proofread my writing. And in VoiceStream Reader, I don't know if some people who have used it for a long time probably know there is an editor function where you can go into the edit mode and then edit a few things. You know, it was a feature that I put in a long time ago, and I'm not even sure. I didn't sure it was really a half-baked feature. You know, so people said, I'm writing VoiceStream Reader. And using the editor, and then I will play. But the problem is, when I want to edit something, I have to stop playing, go back to the editor, and then edit, and then go back and play again. And I thought, well, that's really not what the product was intended for. But there is some users are using it that way. So it got me to think, well, wouldn't it be useful to have another app that's really dedicated to writing? So I look at all the products that are available in the marketplace. There are some tools that do both reading and writing, but I felt that the interaction was not optimized for either task because you're trying to do both, and they're really fundamentally different tasks. So I decided to try to write one myself. And once the idea came, I think it was, it happened very quickly. And also, as I was doing it, a lot of new ideas came about, which we can walk through this. So besides voice feedback of what you have written, what other things somebody with a learning difference would want to have, and so all the features then began to sort of crystallize pretty easily. Yeah,
I'm really excited about telling people a little bit more about some of these features. Would you like to go into a demonstration?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is really on the fly. Okay, so in some ways it works exactly the same as VoiceStream Reader. Let's say you put a cursor there and you push. There's this play button, the exact same play button as in Reader, and if you play, you'll hear the text being spoken.
Swipe right with 3 fingers twice, and you'll see the outline. You can navigate through the outline button.
And you can
also move paragraphs and sections.
Fast forward, rewind, all of that. Let me create a new document here.
And how do you actually create a new document? What are you doing on your end?
I just go up to the menu, and there's a big plus button. I say create document. So we're going to call it demo. Okay, and I got a physical keyboard attached to my iPad, so that's why you're not seeing the on-screen keyboard. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's very clean, no distraction. So that's the idea. And I don't want to have too many buttons, too many things, too many dials of controls. You want to give the writer focus on the content.
This is a. This is a test.
So notice autocorrection actually corrected the misspelling word. So for reading stuff back, it gives you a lot of options. You probably see the familiar. You can choose different voices and speed and pronunciation rules, the same set of controls that you will see in VoiceStream Reader. But then you have options on what to do that's specific to writing. Speak word when typing, so that when you finish a word, writing a word, it will speak it back to you. Speak sentence when typing. If you put in the period, it'll read the entire sentence back to you as you're typing. Proofreading is another mode. You saw it's able to proof, to read the help document. So proofreading also has lots of different settings. There's a natural and detailed setting. So when you're in the natural mode, it would speak as if you're somebody's reading it out loud, and that's really helpful for proofing the content. Do I have the right ideas? Right? If you go to the detailed mode, then it'll break up the words, speak all the punctuation. So it would say this is a sentence, period. It will announce misspelled words, caps. Right, a lot of writers, as you know. Sometimes don't get the caps right, all caps words versus capitalized lowercase. Speak homophones. Again, this is a mistake that a lot of people with dyslexia would make. There, THEIR versus ERE, they sound the same. But if you're listening to it, you wanted to make sure that you got the right word. So
how does that tell you? Does it give you both of the options and then tell you what they mean?
No, it's just when you're proofreading and when it's reading back to you, it'll just spell it out loud. It'll spell it. It was a there, then followed by THERE. So the way you would do meaning, you notice there is this the sidebar on the screen. Most of the time it's hidden. If you open that up, so any word that you tap on where the cursor is on, you would have you will see the dictionary definitions. So here, there's one way for you to validate it, and then you can tap on the definition. You would read it out loud.
An instance of questioning.
So that's one way to make sure that you've got the right word.
Right.
Yeah. Proofreading being there are two modes, where one to validate the content, the other one validating the mechanics. Do I have my punctuation right? And obviously, you're looking at the screen, and as the words that were punctuation being spoken are highlighted. For me, I do all my writing, sort of long form writing with this tool. So I'm a neurotypical person, but I found it very helpful because proofreading is one of those things I just intensely dislike.
Most people do. Most people, but I have to say, one of my classic mistakes being dyslexic myself is I mean to write from and I write form, but I would never ever see that. But right. I hear it immediately. So being able to hear it back immediately really helps me to edit my work. It's completely changed my writing. In fact, I don't use editors nearly as much as I used to, and often not at all, because I have this feature of being able to hear what I wrote, and it's a lot easier to edit, particularly right after you write something.
Right. Yes. So one of the things I try to do. So, for example, let's say you start speaking here.
This is
so if you stop reading, it leaves a cursor at the last word that was spoken. Right. So this is really helpful. So now you can say, oh, that was actually wrong. So I really meant to saying these, are. Tests. That's what I really meant to say because I didn't hear the tense correctly. And then you can read again.
RARE Tests.
Right. So R, you notice that A-R-E, there are lots of, spellings of R. So A-R-E is actually a homophone.
I see. So whenever it's a homophone, they spell it.
That's right.
And so that tells you, it's just a key to you that, oh my gosh, this is one of the various homophones and maybe I should double check the meaning.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Okay.
So the way you said visual appearance is exactly the same as the reader.
Although a lot of these people that are watching this may not have actually experienced VoiceStream Reader.
Yeah. Okay. So I can talk a little bit about spacing settings and margin settings are really important, as you know, right, for visually reading text. Can make a huge difference. But here, there's some extra options. You can mark misspelled word, right? Sometimes I don't like the squiggly line that marks a misspelled word. I want to have the control over that. When I'm writing, when I'm composing, actually, I don't want to be bothered by that. I want to focus on my thoughts, right? So you have option to turn that on or off. And for color settings, a lot of people do prefer this high contrast, black on white appearance when they're writing. So all those options are there. Also, of course, a lot of fonts. Can you
change the color background at all, or is it just black and white or white on black?
Yeah. So once you get into this mode, so let's say we can change the black color to make that, makes that bluish.
Yeah, my favorite is like a dark blue and a light blue font. It just feels.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So something like that,
or sometimes I'll do the opposite: a light blue background and a dark blue font. But the blues are most soothing for me. But I have to say, working with students, I find that most of my students love yellow. They love the yellow background because it's very bright. But yeah, everyone's different, and it's just lovely to be able to adjust what you like, because I think that when things are highly contrasting, it makes it difficult for some people. It creates like a strobe effect for kids with dyslexia.
Yeah.
And when you can make the colors more soothing to the eye, it's more soothing to the brain, and then everything isn't so trying. And then again, being able to make the fonts bigger and being able to adjust those types of things, so those that get easily visually overwhelmed, you don't have to worry about that as much. It's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's some research that shows the sort of creamy pastel colors are better for people with dyslexia. Right?
Yeah.
A couple of more things I want to mention. Spell checking. Spell checking. It's interesting how. By the way, another group of users for this product are the visually impaired. They're both visually impaired, and people with dyslexia prefer a spell checking that steps you through all your misspelled words rather than marking all the misspelled words on the screen. It's, I guess, sort of sequential way of thinking about it, where you just focus on one task at a time. It's easier.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean is that, so let's say, let me put in the misspelled word here.
Question, misspelled.
Okay, it tells you it's misspelled. So let's go to spell check. So then what it does is that it steps you through them one at a time and allows you to correct it right then. Right, so you're focusing on one task, one occurrence at a time, right? As opposed to marking all the misspelled words on the screen. Then you have to find each one.
Well, what I liked there too is it popped up and it gave you the two options right away, so you're not having to go somewhere else and kind of lose your train of thought. Right,
and then you can correct it right here. And this might be a good point to introduce phonetic search feature. So phonetic search is a way to find words based on spelling, as well as sound. So for example, let's say enough. Enough is it doesn't, right? It's only because it sounds like that it'll find it. Where you can say, let's say raspberry. You should find raspberry.
As long as you spell it the way it sounds, it will find the spelling for you.
That's right, yes.
And then, of course, if you're not sure if it's the right one, you can always click on it and it will read it out loud.
That's right.
Raspberry.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So now there are three little buttons along the top there. There's a book, there's the speaker, which I now understand what the speaker is for. What's the third thing for?
The third one is also a feature. I look for it. People have told me that this will be a useful feature. So this is called meaning search. So let's say I'm looking for, I'm thinking of a word and I can't recall it. So I'm going to say,
I have that problem.
yeah, let's call it a large balloon.
There it is.
Right. So there's blimp.
And there's hot air balloons. That's what I thought you were trying to think of.
Yes. And zeppelin. So the idea is that you put in, it's kind of like a Google search. You just put in the words that you're thinking about. Then it'll give you lots of suggestions.
How does that work? So I guess you're saying it just like a Google search.
Yeah. So, and from here you can scroll down. There are lots of options. And most of the time, it's ordered well enough that what you're looking for should bubble to the top. You should find it on the first page.
So it also acts as a thesaurus as well, doesn't it?
Exactly, but in a sense, it's an uber thesaurus because it doesn't just find synonyms, words that mean precisely the same thing. It also finds related words. So let's say if I type in,
I love that.
So I type in strong. Okay, but then so it's got lots of words that mean strong.
Right, and all the different meanings of strong too, I can see.
Far more words that you will find in the thesaurus, again, because the space in which it's searching for words is much larger. It's not saying, find me synonyms.
And then again, if you click on them, does it read it to you?
Yes.
So that's great, because say if a kid wasn't sure what it was or couldn't read it, then they can hear it.
So I call it this feature on the right. I call it the word finder because the idea is that it helps you find word. Ultimately, you're trying to use the right words to convey what you're trying to say. And sometimes you search for those by sound, and sometimes you want to search for those by meaning. And you always need a dictionary to make sure that it is what you meant.
Right.
Okay? So the combination of these three features is the purpose is exactly that: using the right words in your composition.
Awesome. Now there's another arrow on the left side of the screen. Where does that take us?
Okay, so that is the outline. The genesis of this feature is also a lot of times people with dyslexia can have a hard time finding stuff in their document because finding stuff requires scanning, right? And then scanning is sort of a reading skill. And also when you're working on a part of document, it's hard to visualize and think about the larger organization of your writing. Okay. So this feature lets you look at your writing in an outline form, lets you navigate your writing in an outline form, and also seeing the structure of your document. So right now we're in the three buttons here on the top left. So right now we're looking at just sentences. So now it shows you the paragraphs, and then the paragraphs are broken down into sentences.
I see, and that's what the three dots does.
That's right. Each one is a sentence. So let's say I want to put in the heading. To put in the heading is very easy. The syntax that's used in this editor is called Markdown. So Markdown is a way to have formatting. To tell the system what format you want without having to format it on the screen. So a basic belief in this app is that the text that you want to use when you're writing is different than the way you want to print it out. Right? So, for example, you may be, let's say, you may prefer a really large font when you're writing because it's easier for you to write that way and proofreading that way, but you don't want to print it out that way.
Right.
Right. So a lot of text editors, they present you with a screen as if you're going to print it out right there, which is not optimal for the writing process. So the idea is that let's not worry about formatting when we're composing. We'll worry about formatting only when you're ready to print it out. But still, some formatting features are important when you're composing. So, for example, I want to say a heading.
How did you do that? Did you just click on the H in order to create a heading?
No, I just put in. So you recognize that when you put a pound sign there, that is a heading. So anything, I'm just going to turn off this. So anything that's preceded by a pound sign is a first level heading. And anything that's preceded by two pound signs is a second level heading.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So and this is it's a standard syntax on the internet. If you look for Markdown, it's a very popular way to have formatting information in your text. So also, for example, you can say tests. You can put in two asterisks around it. That means bold. And
it's like HTML kind of coding.
Yeah, that's right. We put in, but it's simpler than HTML because you don't have to worry about. And one asterisk is italic, and also supports lists and so on. So this is a way for you to indicate formatting in your document without having to be presented to what the document will look like when you print it out. You can preserve your writing environment and the text, the way the text looks, that's the most comfortable to you.
Now, how would somebody know what all these little...
It's all in the documentation, but they're not a lot. I've shown you all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other one is lists, and that's it.
So if you wanted a heading and you wanted, say, a bold and you wanted italicized, then you just do this on the side. Then when I copy and paste it into a Word document, it will already have those features.
Yes, well, you can export this document directly to Word, and then all these formatting that you put into your document that will be right there.
So the formatting is just done on the left so that everything stays super clean on the actual document. Or
right.
you could send it over and then do the formatting later.
Yes, you can do it that way too. Okay. But if you do your headings this way, then this outline on the left will recognize the heading. So for example, if I go to the left, I'm only looking at headings. So now you can have a view of your document that's just the headings.
Oh, I see. So yeah, if you pick one of those, it allows you just to see those individual components of the whole.
Yes, right. And it lets you navigate your entire document based on these headings. And the second one is you will want to see you want to see paragraphs as well as headings. And then the last one will let you see headings, paragraphs, and sentences. So in a sense, that those three buttons on the top right tell you what grain, how much detail do you want in your outline.
Right, and of course, if you had a full essay here, it would make a little bit more sense because you have a lot of content. It looks a little minimalistic.
Yeah, so let's try this help document. So this is the help document that comes with the app. So here you really see what it looks like, right? There are all the sentences, and then you only see paragraphs, or you can just see a heading view of your document.
That's very nice for people that are simultaneous processors that want to see the big picture.
Yes.
That could be really, really helpful.
Yeah, and then the important thing is that the headings, these are created automatically on the fly as you're typing, as you see, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, that's the byproduct of your writing.
So, all right. So, but again, in order to turn it into a heading, I would go over to the left and then just establish it as a heading by adding one or two hashtags.
No, you just go to the right and you just precede. This is part of your text document. So let's say where we were before in the demo. So let's say I want to have another chapter 2. I just go down here. Right now, I'm composing. So I say, chapter 2. So notice that it created a second.
I see. So I can just throw in the hashtag and it does it for me.
That's right.
So now if I don't put in the hashtag, if I go over to the left, can I then do it over there? Or
No. The thing on the left is not meant for, for creating headings. It's like I said, it's extracted out of your content.
Got it. So it's really a matter of just knowing two things: a hashtag, one hashtag, or two hashtags,
or 3. Yeah.
What does 3 do? Oh, that would be
third level heading.
I get it. Yes. And then which is a lot easier than having to. I get that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the stars also enable you around a word to either bold or italicize. What about underline?
Underline, no, it cannot do that. But actually, there is a reason for why. Underlines are typically not great for writing, because it messes up the flow of the text. So in most writing, things you want to underline, it should be italicized.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. I get that. And of course, if someone's that anxious to do it, they can always do it when they send it over to Word before they print it.
Yes.
You can't print directly from here, can you?
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
All right, so you have to show us how to print and how to export.
Sure. Yeah. One more thing here that you can do with the outline is that you can actually change the order of things. So for example, I want to say this part 1, this really belongs into chapter 2. So I can do that. And it will take that entire section and drag and drop and move that. And this is it's a practical thing, is that when you're writing on a tablet, it's really difficult to select a large chunk of text. Right, and imagine if it's the whole section of your writing needs to be moved. It's a real pain to select all of that. But here, as long as you got the heading, you drag the entire thing and move it around. It's really easy to reorganize your document.
Winston, it's a pain even in a Word document.
Yeah.
Or a Google document. It's awful because if you move it to the wrong place or you missed a piece of it, wow, that is, to me, that's enormous. Because again, I'm going to tell you a great story. When I was in 11th grade, I had this it was like a 20-page paper I had to do. I was in a private school. And we worked on it all year. And I got a D on the first draft, and it was heartbroken. And I gave it to my father. And he said, "Oh, I know what we need to do." And this is back in the old days where we didn't have word processing. And he brought out his scissors, and he cut it up. And then he taped it back together, and I got an A on it.
That was it.
This saved me. It was, and I have a lot of kids that have that issue where they've got great content, but it's all in the wrong order. So something like this is going to be a game changer, and that's a very dyslexic thing. So.
Yeah, one way to everybody has different writing style. I think what a lot of times when you're trying to tell a student with dyslexia how to write, you usually say, put together the outline first, right? So here you can just use this hashtag way to create a whole outline, right? Then drag it around using the outline on the left and say, okay, that's the way I want to organize it. Okay, now I'm done. Now start putting in the meat. Right, so it does support that way of writing. That's
brilliant. I am so glad that we're doing this because you're showing me features I had no idea about.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yes, I wanted to see export. So there are lots of ways to export the document. You can copy all the text and paste it somewhere else. You can send the text to, let's say, to Twitter or to Facebook, or you can export it open the file in another app. Okay, so the first thing asks is, okay, now you want to open this file in another app. What format do you want it? So plain text without markdown means it's going to strip out all those asterisks and hashtags, right, just to give you plain text. Plain text with markdown then will be exactly what you see on the screen. That's what it's going to export. HTML, rich text format, and of course, Microsoft Word. So once you choose a format, so let's choose, plain text without markdown, and then you can you can copy stream reader and copy to whatever other apps that you want. So if you want to print, you can preview and print. So here, this is where it turns your headings into meaningful look and sort of look in the document, right? And you can choose different themes. There are some pre-packaged themes here.
That's great.
Yeah. So find a way you like and say print, and off it goes to a printer.
So can you select the fonts, or do you just have those
Those are predetermined, yes.
And are they pretty standard ones? Because I know most teachers want either Arial or New Times Roman.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is Arial, the standard one. Classic, I think, is Times Roman.
Oh yeah, they look pretty standard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of it right now. Is there any other little features that we haven't seen?
I don't think so. But I can tell you a little bit about what I would like to do with this product.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So right now, it only supports English. So I would like to enhance the product so you can write in other languages besides English. Another feature I wanted to dig into a little more. As you know, there is word prediction is very it seems like a demanded feature. So right now, the app uses the word prediction feature that's built into iOS, which is pretty good.
Can you tell people a little bit about what word prediction is and show us?
Yeah, so word prediction is. Let me go back to the to my demo piece. As I'm writing, you see that there's at the bottom. If I just type in J, it guesses could be just or could be Jimmy. A lot of so this is iOS's built-in word prediction. So let's say you want to say just, you just tap on just, and then it puts that in. So it's an idea. Next word could be because. You can compose probably something that doesn't make a lot of sense, just using word prediction.
Yeah, I've had students do that. They love it. It's a game for them. They make these funny stories just by
yes, yeah. So one idea that I wanted to do is to have word prediction to be a little more intelligent in terms of basing word prediction on the content that you have written. Right. So let's say you when you create the document, you usually give it a title, and then you start creating outline, headings, and start writing, and all the stuff you write previously should inform what words are more likely to pop up.
Right.
So that's something that I've been thinking about doing.
Yeah, so you could create almost like a heading. If you were doing something on biology, then they might have access to a lot of biology terms or something like that.
Right. I mean, so for example, as you know, there one feature in another writing app for people with dyslexia, Co-Writer.
Yes.
One feature in there that's really good is a word prediction feature. But the way I understood is that for it to work really well, you have to put in a topic dictionary. So I'm writing about this topic, and then you would direct your prediction toward that topic. But a lot of times when you're writing, there's no standard topic you're writing about. So I'm writing a help document for, there's no topic dictionary for that. But the stuff that you have written already is in some cases probably a better guide to what words you're about to write.
Right. So you're going to make something that's a little bit more intelligent, where it's going to be critically analyzing what you're writing about, and the more you write, the more specific it will get towards the word prediction.
Yes.
On your topic.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
When do you plan to do that?
I'm planning to update both the reader and the writer this fall. So hopefully some of the stuff will come out either toward the end of this year or very early next year.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
Awesome. Terrific.
But yeah, one thing also your viewers might want to know is that the writer is a part of a suite of apps called VoiceStream Suite. And the suite is, if you buy the suite, in effect, you're getting the writer for free. Because the reader is $15. The voices, the 2 extra voices in the pack, normally if you buy it separately, it's $5. So, but you can get the suite for $20, which includes the writer.
That's great. So all right. So you get VoiceStream Reader, you get VoiceStream Writer, and then you get 2 additional voices.
Right.
And why did you pick those voices? What's special about those voices?
Those are the most popular, most well-liked voices of all the voices that's offered.
Awesome. Are they American-speaking voices?
Yes.
What, a male and a female?
Yeah, Sharon and James.
Oh, okay. Yeah, James is my favorite. Terrific. Great. Well, is there anything else that you have to share with us, or does this pretty much take care of all the features?
I think so. Yeah. These are the key ones. So I mean, to 2 things that it tries to do. One is help you find the words, finding the right words you want to use, help you organize your document through the outline, and the ultimate goal is to help everybody write better.
Right. And of course, because this is something I'm working on right now to help people to become better spellers. That's kind of what I'm focusing on right now on a number of projects. This is incredibly helpful for those that are, struggling with spelling. But I think, more than anything, writing is a very, very complex process that requires multitasking. And the only way that you can become a really good writer is if you learn these certain skills to a state of automaticity.
Yeah.
And so what I like about VoiceStream Writer is if a kid isn't automatic with spelling, we're taking that load off. Or if they're not automatic with organization, they can start using the features on the left-hand column where they can rearrange main ideas and details and stuff like that. So, the more we can take some of the load off. If typing requires too much cognitive space so that they can't think about their written word, then they can speak.
Yes, that's right. That is one thing I haven't shown you. Yes, you can speak, and it will do speech to text and transcribe your speaking using the soft keyboard, the on-screen keyboard in iOS.
Right. So you could, if you were using a regular keyboard, you couldn't do voice to text. But if you used it, and how if you say you were typing away with a keyboard, and then you wanted to do the voice to text, how could you turn that on? Just briefly
turn off the keyboard.
I see. Turn off the keyboard. By turning off the keyboard, it automatically will cause the online keyboard to pop up.
That's right. But one critical difference is that normally if you do speech to text or dictation for iOS, it just it writes out whatever you have spoken. But in VoiceStream Writer, after you dictate, it would read back to you what you dictated. Which is really important because if you have no feedback, how do you know that you dictated the right text?
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you. Can you go back in and share and give one quick demo of how to do voice to text?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So here's our document. And to turn on the on-screen keyboard, all I got to do is to turn off the external keyboard. And now you see this microphone button popping up to the left of the space bar. So I can say, this is a dictation, period.
This is a dictation.
Okay. Right.
Love it.
Yes.
So yeah, you've got it all. It's all right there, and it's, again, as you said, super clean. It's
Yes.
not visually overwhelming, which I
Yeah.
love. And you can change the colors, you can change the size of the font, you can change the margins, you can change the spacing between the letters and the words so that you can really optimize it to what's most comfortable for the kid or the
Yes. Yeah. There's a story about the George R.R. Martin, and he's the writer, he's the author of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That he today he has a old IBM PC from a couple of decades ago, using a word processor called WordStar.
Wow.
So those of us who are old enough, we probably remember WordStar. And WordStar is on the screen with like 80 characters across. And he said he uses that because it's the way it allows him to focus. It allows him to concentrate on the writing. That's why he does not write in Microsoft Word or any other word processor, because there's too much stuff going on and they interfere with his creative process.
That's fascinating. And, we never think about that with kids. And we're not giving them, typically, a typical kid isn't given the option of, do you want a clear screen, versus all of these little bells and whistles. But it depends on the individual. Everybody has a preference. And some people are completely distracted and overwhelmed by, all of this stuff all the way around the edges.
Yeah. I mean, but some of the formatting features, like I want to change my, I want to change justification, or I want to change my font to something else. These things are irrelevant to the writing process. Right? They're relevant when you want to print it out, when you want to present it in the final format. When you're writing, you want to focus on the text, on the words.
That's great. Well, does he know about VoiceStream Writer?
I'll send him an email.
There you go. You should. I bet he'd love it. Yeah, because there are, again, some features that he probably hasn't even thought of that can make him an even better writer. Maybe faster, too.
Yes, faster, I hope.
Right. I don't know. He's a pretty good writer as it is. But terrific. Well, it has been such a joy to connect with you yet again. And I can't wait to see what you come out with next, because you're always doing so many awesome creative things. And for the dyslexic population, I thank you, because you really have made a huge difference for all of us.
It's a pleasure. It makes my work really meaningful.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Winston.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to the Go Dyslexia podcast, where dyslexia experts share strategies, technology, products, stories, and more. If you need the show notes or want to check out the webinars, blog posts, and resources, go to godyslexia.com. Be sure to sign up for Dr. Warren's newsletter and follow her on social media.